All right, and we are live. Welcome once again, Jess. It's amazing to meet you, and I'm really looking forward to getting to know your story and what you're about. And so, before you introduce yourself professionally with business and all of that, we'll get into that. This week, as a human being, what is it like to be you?
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And then um, thank you for asking such a powerful question. Um, what does it mean to be anyone? I don't know. That's such a fascinating question. I think, everybody is so multifaceted. And, for me, I am a learner of the world. So I think that it's really hard to be put into a small little box and be just one individual. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a business owner. I love learning everything I can from everyone and everything in the world. And I think that that's also kind of makes things very complicated too because you only have so much time here on this wonderful earth to do everything you want to do, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I like to ask this way because a lot of the times these days people have, say, two lives or two faces. One is the public one in the reality in what it seems like from the outside, and then one is an actual experience of how we live life, right, and what it's really like. And I like to start off with and dig into the reality, right? And I've had people saying like, "Oh yeah, it's been super busy," or from the outside, I'm on private jets and things like that. And but on the inside, it's just kind of life, you know. I just got used to it. I'm like, "Oh hey, it's always good to hear perspectives." Everybody answers that question differently. So yeah, I love it. I love asking that to start off with. But yeah, what is it that you do personally in business?
Yeah. So, I mean, I completely agree with everything that you said too, as well. I'm sure that it's very fascinating to hear everybody's answers for that. And I'm sure that, if you ask them every, so often, the answer would probably change too.
Yes.
So I am a business coach in the US and I'm an author. I am also a podcast host and I am also a real estate broker and own a real estate company.
Okay, that's a lot of things already. And you also said you're a mom, right? And of course, you have your own personal life outside of that. How do you
Yeah.
manage all of this?
Yeah, well, I think that that is something that is always changing and always trying to, adapt and overcome and adjust that. But when it comes to, my business coaching, what I, strive on teaching and helping others who are, starting or growing their business is to create a perfect work and life balance that's perfect for them. And, coming from myself, I reached a point in my career where I was extremely burnt out and it was affecting my personal life. So I had to take some time off to reflect on, what I wanted, how I could, be happy and do all the things that I wanted to do, but also have that personal, life and connection with those that mean the most to me.
Mm. So you went from, well, what caused you to be burnt out? You said you were burnt out. What was that? What was that
Everything.
cause?
I think, losing control over, my business, my goals, my vision, when you lose that control, you just really kind of lose sight of everything. And I was overstimulated. I had, too many people contacting me, too many obligations, too much pressure. So it was really, readjusting all of that and finding out what was really important. And a lot of times, even with my clients, a lot of times it comes down to stopping what you're doing and kind of going backwards a little bit because we
Okay.
all get really overwhelmed with trying to do everything, right?
Yeah. So you were already doing business and you were already doing all of these things
Mhm.
when you got burnt out, and then you took a break, and then did you start implementing things again one by one, or did you just jump right in right after, or what changes did you make?
So, great question. Um, this time that I took off, I took a big chunk of time off from everything and just kind of shut down, which not everybody can do all the time. But I took this time to reflect on, what I wanted and my goals. And what I did was actually I created an entire framework because, like I had said, everybody tries to do all the things in their business and be everything to everyone. And with this framework, it really kind of, put the foundations down that you need to run a successful business because it's not about doing all of the things, it's about doing the right things. You don't have to be on every social media platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not
Mm-hmm.
everybody should have a podcast show. Not
Mm-hmm.
everybody has to have a low ticket, a high ticket. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really kind of going backwards a little bit and starting, from the beginning, the basics.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a big point because a lot of people say, "Oh, you have to be omnipresent. You have to do this and you have to do that." And um, I heard like the complete opposite piece of advice that basically all you need to really have a successful business is one ideal client, one platform, and one really good product or one really
Yeah,
good service, right? One offer, let's say.
yeah,
And that's basically all you need to run a successful brand or a business. And then you can of course expand afterwards and you can grow from there. But if you're trying to do everything at once, like you're starting from scratch on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube all at the same time, and you're still figuring out who's your client, you're still figuring out what's your offer. Ah,
yes.
is that not possible? It's not even just that it's not sustainable. It's not even possible. I don't think you really have to start step by step. And
Yeah,
so,
and
what
you
was
get overwhelmed.
yeah, well, right. And like you said, too many messages, too much this, too many that, and then it's like it becomes like, why are you even doing all of this? Are you actually getting the results that you're after by doing all of this?
Yeah.
Usually it's
And
not, right?
what's funny though is so many people, they start their own business because they want to be able to make their own hours and work less and have
Right,
more time, right? And what usually happens is they end up working way more hours and not making any money because they're all over the place.
right. Would you say, and I'm curious more about your story as well, and what it was like for you becoming an entrepreneur, or if you've been an entrepreneur all this time. But before that, would you say that for most people, I would say, yeah, let's say for most people, is it a phase that we kind of have to go through this like messy phase of just like trying to do all of these things, and when you become an entrepreneur first, you just start to work so much more, even though your end goal is to work less and be in control. Is it a phase that we all have to go through, or that most people kind of have to go through in order to get to that place where okay, I work 2 hours a week, or 4 hours a week, or 2 hours a day, and it's just kind of running mostly by itself? Or is it just
Yeah.
like something you can skip?
So, I mean, I think that it's something that you can escape. I think that most people don't because they don't know what they're doing. And they're trying to do all the things. They're trying to be omnipresent, like you said. And I think, sometimes the majority of people have to learn these lessons the hard way, which is
Hmm.
failing first
Yeah.
and learn what doesn't work. And it, unfortunately, is the cause of so many businesses' demise. So many people give up and they quit because
Yeah.
they're like, I can't do this. But the problem is that a lot of these people, especially solopreneurs, they're comparing themselves to people who have been in the business for a long time, probably have a team of people managing all their social media platforms,
Hmm.
helping with their content, and they're looking at the wrong thing. Not everybody starts there, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So what was your journey with starting a business?
So I have been a business owner for over 20 years. I have started all the way back when drop shipping was a thing, when eBay was a big thing. And I'm, kind of aging myself a little bit here, but I've always had that, that pull to be my own boss, do my own thing, and, harness that creativity. So I've been, online in a lot of multiple, roles, and I've even had a brick and mortar business
Mm.
that was super fun and exciting and, ran its time. And, then I got back into real estate and built my real estate And then from, working with a lot of real estate agents and helping them build their businesses and lead generate and marketing, I really took on the role as a coach and a mentor, helping them with their businesses. And then it just kind of, adjusted from there to help people in all kinds of different, business atmospheres, social media managers, other types of coaches, even people who have product-based businesses. So it's been very exciting and fulfilling. But the one thing remains the same is that every business has the same types of foundations to start with.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think that was the main thing that I was missing personally when I first started my business journey. I was missing the foundations really, and I would get these like courses about social media marketing agency or dropshipping or affiliate marketing, and it would be a kind of the thread or like the surface level thing, but like the foundation wasn't there. I didn't understand. I didn't know. So what was it like for you personally to start the very first business? How messy was it? Did you have a mentor right away, or did you were you one of those like just gonna figure it out by myself, and you went through the failings and all that by yourself?
Yes. So the first, couple, business adventures that I went on, I definitely failed and learned a lot. And, at that time, there wasn't a lot of mentors, coaches, or anybody really
Mm,
in those, parts doing those types of businesses and stuff. And then as I kept growing, and as I mentioned earlier in the show, I'm a learner of the world, so I'm always learning. I love, taking other courses and having mentors and other coaches myself, because I think everybody should. Like, you can't get outside of your own head. You can't see the big picture like somebody else can, and they can also help hold you accountable, right? So having that guidance can be a big difference, and is what has always helped me as well, to help with that encouragement and accountability. And so there's been a lot of failures along the way, a lot of adjustments, and learning, just always learning.
what helped you persevere through the failings?
Just, I can't give up and give up on myself. So even if, I fall, I don't have any money, I'm broke, the businesses aren't working. If I believe in myself and others and my purpose, then that's what drives me. That's the perseverance to keep going. Maybe, people might have to adjust a little bit. Maybe they're in the wrong role, but their mission doesn't have to, end or stop.
Mm, yeah, okay, I like that as well. Maybe you're just in the wrong role. You might be in the right boat, but
Yeah.
maybe you're just in the wrong role of the crew.
Yeah.
Were you always this way? Like you fully believed in yourself and you're like, I'm never gonna give up on myself and I'm gonna just do this, or did you have to develop this?
It's one of those things with, mindset and, positivity and stuff. Is it's something that, I'm always working on. But at the
Mm,
end of the day, like, I know I have so much to give and offer. And I think that we're all very unique, and we all, like, that's what separates us. Nobody can do what you do. Nobody is you, right? So I think that, believing in yourself is the most important thing that you can do, because we're all put here, to do something. And sometimes it's finding, what it is that you're passionate about. And when you're passionate, it's a lot easier to believe in yourself, and surrounding yourself with, the positivity that you need to help yourself also makes a huge difference.
yeah, yeah. You mentioned you working on it every day. Give us some examples. How are you working on it?
Yeah, so, it's part of self-care, right? And I think, being in, the lines of businesses that we are with online businesses, service based or, product based, we don't take care of ourselves very much, and we get burnout because we have been taught to do the hustle mindset. We're doing everything, got to be everywhere. And in order to kind of take care of yourself and put yourself first so that you can do the things that you want to do, you have to take care of yourself. You have to do certain self care that works for you. So for me, that's reading, that's motivational, podcasts, it's music. I love music, all music, rap, hip hop, pop, anything that's upbeat, fun, dancing. I love that. And that's what makes me happy and fuels me. And I usually listen to it before I host a podcast and get excited and stuff, right? So it's all of this surrounding yourself with the energy, meditation, walking, and finding what works for you. Those are, the things that I love and enjoy.
Hmm. Okay. Wonderful. What does a normal, regular day in a life of Jess look like?
Ah, yes. So I get up really early. I get up about 5 a.m. And get ready, get my daughter ready for school. And we, drive to town and stuff. And then, I'm listening to music and podcasts. And then I'm going through my calendars for the day, getting started. I'm at the office by 7 a.m. So I get started, doing kind of that prep work of the fun stuff, whether it's coffee, tea, whatever. And then don't really start working until a little bit later because, I run multiple businesses, but I also follow my own beliefs, which is what, my book is the 20-hour week CEO. So I, structure my life around the 20-hour week CEO as well. And so I go through, whatever my schedule is planned out, whether it's, hosting podcasts, guesting on podcasts, going through emails, working on, my programs or my masterminds and clients, whatever is on my schedule for that day. And then it's really, heading home, family time, dinner, whatever's after school activities. And then it's a lot of reading and sometimes watching a lot of useless reality TV because that's something that I love. And it like shuts off my brain. Like everybody kind of needs, especially if you're an overthinker, you're always thinking about work, you're always thinking about the next project. Sometimes doing something that you don't have to think about. And for me, that's reality TV, useless stuff that I think is, just hilarious and fun. Um, just shuts off my brain for a little bit at nighttime.
All right. Amazing. Okay. Reality shows that are can be great for turning off your brain, of course. Until you're overdoing it, or unless you're overdoing it, of course, which I don't think
Yeah.
that's the case here. You mentioned the 20 hour CEO book that you wrote.
Yes.
Okay, what does that actually mean? The 20 hour a week CEO.
Yeah. So it is a book that I created from, the framework that I developed from, kind of creating those foundations for business. It's a very actionable book. It's no BS, no fluff. It's a, encyclopedia Bible book for business. It walks you step by step of, the foundations and the automations and systemizing for your business and how to create a 20-hour a week work week and how that it's customizable. So many people think, oh, I can't time block, I can't work a schedule, I'm all over the place, I've got small kids, I've got a full-time job. The thing about this is that it's customizable. It's for you. So if your 20 hours is Saturday and Sunday, that's fine. If it's, at midnight, that's fine. It's for you what works for you, and everybody kind of also has a peak performance time throughout the day where they're most productive. They can get their best work done. For a lot of younger people, a generation, they're nighttime people. They love that. For older people like myself, I'm very productive in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. How long did it take you to get to your 20 hour weeks?
To create the book.
No, to like actually get your businesses to be aligned in a way that you can actually do all of the work in 20 hours in a week. And of course, I'm pretty sure that fluctuates every now and then, right? Especially if you're working on like a bigger project and things like that. Um,
Yeah, and the thing is too is, leaving that space in there to allow for flexibility, right? So, when you have special projects, you're creating a new course, you're creating a new membership,
yeah.
whatever the project is that you got going on, to leave that flexibility in there. So it took me, probably 6 to 8 months to develop the system, the framework, and then implement it. The implementing part was actually a lot easier because I'm a very productive, streamlined person.
Mm,
But creating my work schedule and the tasks that I do, like once you have all of that stuff out there, a lot of it ends up running itself, right? And that's what a lot of people really kind of, fail at, especially when they're trying to be everywhere and do everything. They're not automating. They're not streamlining their business. There's so many things in your business that if you set it all up, you won't have to touch it again until you want to just, refresh it or something. But a lot of parts of your business can be running itself, right?
yeah, yeah. I think that's very very true. It is about working smart, not just working hard, right?
Yeah,
I think there is a addition to that, and this is why I asked this way. Like, how long did it take you to really get to this point where you understand all of this and you know how to set it up and things like that? Because I think there's a difference between starting from total scratch and expecting that you're just going to work 20 hours a week and all of a sudden you're going to have this amazing business versus really going out there and figuring things out and spending like 2 years, 3 years figuring things out and really working hard for a
yeah,
period of time. And not, you don't have to work yourself into the ground, right? But like you really have to work hard and really learn a lot and have this long sprint until you get to the place where you're all optimized.
yeah,
And so yeah, would you say that there's gotta be this phase that you just have to go at it and figure things out, and then you get to a place where you're more optimized, more structured, everything is automated. And of course that's going to be different for everybody, right? For some people it might take 5 years, for some people it might take a year, for some people it might take a few months, especially if you've already had a business before, you know at least a little bit of what you're doing. It's going to be faster and faster. But if you the reason why I'm asking, and this is kind of my issue, and this is where I think we can take this, because I think you might be a perfect person to address this and have a conversation. um the issue that I have with the coaching industry, and I mean, I've been in the coaching industry myself for 5 years. I absolutely love it, right? Like, so I'm gonna say that first. I absolutely love it. I have my coaches and mentors. I'm a coach myself. The issue that I have is the unrealistic expectations and timelines that people put, right? Specifically, start with absolutely no experience and make 10,000 a month in 2 months.
yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Let's just start there.
Well, I thought you were going to go somewhere else with that, when you started, because,
Okay.
one of the big problems, in the coaching industry is, inexperienced coaches calling
Mm,
themselves
mm,
coaches
mm,
and,
mm.
trying to, get, a lot of money and, make those $100,000 months and, that
Yes.
sort of thing too.
Okay,
So
we can
I
talk
thought that
about that later. We can talk about that right after. That's a good one too.
Yeah, yeah. So I thought that's where you were going to go a little bit, and I think that it kind of ties together too, though, right? Um, I think I think that if you have a real structured plan, that whether the thing about like taking courses and stuff like that on your own is a lot of people are not self-driven. They can't hold themselves accountable. Most people don't finish those courses and stuff, right? So that's
Very
why
true.
it's so important to have a coach or a mentor, that can hold you accountable. Make sure you're getting the stuff done that you want to get done. because as creative entrepreneurs, we can talk ourselves into things and out of things. We can say, oh, it's fine, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next week, because who do we have to, stand up to? Are we going to let
Yeah.
ourselves down tomorrow? Yes, but it's okay because we just told ourselves it's okay, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you can really follow a good program,
Mm,
if on your own or with somebody, you can, start a business from scratch and make good money. You can do this in a short time frame. The problem is, like you were saying, is people, having to do all of this stuff and then fail, right? Because they need to learn that what they think they know is wrong, and they have to suffer, is what happens a lot of time, and a lot of people, end up coming to me for business coaching because they're, I'm doing all of these things, I'm doing what everybody's telling me, what all the noise online is saying, so why do I not have any clients, why am I not making any money? And I'm like, well, because you're all over the place. Right?
you're doing it all.
You're doing it all, which means you're not doing anything good.
Right.
And
Mm,
we talk a lot about, the social media platforms because it's so easy and people relate to it so much. But the thing is if you're really you following a program, a course, a coaching program, whatever it is, usually you start at the beginning. If you are figuring out what your vision for your business is, your I help statement, who your client is, the next thing you're going to figure out is your client is not on all of those platforms, right? So you're wasting your time on YouTube when your client is on Facebook or LinkedIn,
mm,
right? So you're wasting all this time putting this content out here, trying to, find the algorithm, make it work, grow your platform. But the people that you are trying to talk to aren't even there. So what what does that even, make? That doesn't make any sense at all. But that's the problem. People just go in there and they think they know everything because they're listening to all of these gurus out there, or, other coaches
yeah.
who may have really great experience in that one, you know, line of, business or platform or whatever it is. But the problem is they're listening to too many people and trying to do too many things. If they just followed one program, they would be a lot more successful.
Mm, I think that's a great point, right? Just
Yeah.
take one and stick to one, and this is where I have a more of a struggle with the timeline, because I think most people are actually good, and they are mostly honest, and what they teach can work,
Hmm.
but in a longer timeline. And I think that's where I got discouraged. For example, like I'm basing this a lot on my experience. So when I first got started into this, let's say, online business space, right? I got into affiliate marketing, I got into dropshipping, I got into social media marketing agency, I did forex trading for a bit, like all of these different things. And the reason why I was jumping so fast is because this person was saying, hey, this will take you 2 months to set up a dropshipping store and get these kind of results. And I worked on it for 3 months, and I was making absolutely no money. And there is a part of like, okay, maybe I didn't do it every day the way exactly I could. Like, I didn't put all of my efforts into it, because I mean, we're human, right? So it will
Yeah.
fluctuate. But now looking back, 5 years later, I'm like, well, if I stuck to doing dropshipping for 2 years, I would probably have a very good, successful dropshipping store and an e-commerce brand. If I had done it for 6, 7 months, 8 months longer, then I quit. But I quit too early. Not, and again, like, I would take some accountability and responsibility for that, of course, but also because of what I was told, right? Like, I was literally told it's gonna take this long. So
Yeah.
naturally, because it didn't, it I had literally no results after that amount of time, and I set up my dropshipping store, and I started running ads, and I started doing all of these things, but no money.
Hmm.
So that's why I was like, okay, this is not gonna work. Let me jump to something else.
Yep.
If if the course that I bought told me, by the way, it's probably going to take you, it's very unlikely but possible that it's going to make work in 3 months, because some people do. But in reality, it will take maybe about 2 years until you learn all of it and you really tweak it until it really works. Might have actually stuck with it and actually made it work. But I think
But
less people would buy.
would you have bought the program if
Right.
it had
That's the
said this
that's
is
the thing,
going to
right?
take? That's the
That
problem.
that's the
A
thing.
lot of
Less
people,
people would buy.
bingo. So it's almost like a clickbait, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much. And so
Yeah, it's
like
marketing.
that's kind of where I take a little bit of an issue, but I also like I don't have a solution to that. I like to bring it up to to people, and I like to say
Yeah,
like at least from my experience, like and basically everybody I talk to, either who's been in business for 20 years or just getting started or just made it happen or whatever, usually there's like a much longer period of like trying to figure it out, and it's never. But I'm trying to think if I've actually ever met a person who I've spoken to and they're like, yeah, I bought a course that taught me to do it in 3 months and I actually did it in 3 months.
yeah,
Like that's either has to be so rare or just doesn't exist. Or I've met a few, but they were starting with a lot of business experience from other fields or other things.
yeah,
I met this one woman on my podcast, and she said after I started my online business, I was making six figures within 6 months with my first online business. However, she's had a seven-figure brick and mortar business before. I'm like, oh, right. So you just took all of that network and experience and knowledge and you just transferred it into online. It took 6 months to set up, and you were at six figures. Duh, makes sense. But didn't start from total scratch from no experience, you know.
yeah. And
So
I think
that's
that's multifaceted too. What you're saying is because a lot of people, they wouldn't buy a program if it says that it's going to take that long time, like you said. The next thing is, a lot of people don't follow a program all the way through
yeah.
appropriately. The next thing is too is the world that we live in, we want instant gratification,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to money. Like we can sit right here and we will try to dive right into that course. We want to finish that course as fast as we can and make that money. So a lot of times that'll be not paying attention to that course, not actually doing all this stuff and just fast forwarding through the videos. And
Half
you know we
assing it.
we can thank TikTok for that because we all like don't have the
Mm,
attention span to listen to people that much anymore. But yeah, you're so right. The thing is it does take a while, and most people wanting that instant gratification will give up way before they'll be able to see it. And the problem is now they're just chasing their tail. They're working all the time. They're doing this. It's not working, so now they're going over here and they're doing this, and they're always working, but they're not finishing it. They're not
mm,
giving it the time. And that's the other thing too is, a lot of people create these digital products and stuff, but they're not giving it enough time. They're not marketing it. They're not following through with it. They spent all that time, creating it, and now they're exhausted and they just want their money for all the work they put in.
yeah,
They burn
very
out.
true. Yeah. So what's your approach or perspective on this? The because I do understand that if I start only telling people, hey, if you hire me to help you start a business, it will take you 3 years. A lot less people will actually buy. But if I say, hey, it can take shorter, more people will buy. A fewer, but some people who would not buy now buy, and they still make it in reality, right? So how do you personally approach this?
Yeah, so I mean, I think for a lot of people and stuff, it comes down to like being honest and disclosing.
Mm,
Like I can help you make $100,000 a month. It's up to you and what you do if when you're going to accomplish that, right? And
mm,
the thing that you can account for is people's, their own motivation, their personality. You
yeah,
can't like keep people motivated if they're not motivated, if they really don't have any drive. You also can't, promise people that you're going to help them grow their Instagram channel if they don't have, an idea, or they're not personable. Like people don't like them. They're not drawn to them. So how can you promise, that they're going to get these results, right? So I think everything really needs to be disclosed up front and be like, if you follow, my teachings, my program exactly as I have it laid out, but then also ask questions. follow up, you know, and, complete it, follow through with everything. Even if when you complete a program or a course or working with a coach, you still have to keep going, right? Like it just doesn't end, and it's not like the minute you finish that course, now you're going to make $10,000 or $100,000 or whatever it is, right? It's setting that foundation and helping you achieve the goals that you set. And anybody can do anything they want to do. At the end of the day, we're all made the same way, to the core. It's what we do with what we have that makes the difference.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. I agree. It definitely should be disclosed. I think
Yeah.
building it as much as possible on honesty is really kind of
But people don't
been
want
my
the
thing.
honesty. They
Hmm?
don't want the honesty. They don't
Right.
want that a lot. They
So
want fast. They want fast, immediate
yeah,
results, the
yeah,
most they can get with the least amount of work and the least amount of time, right?
yeah. Is it more valuable for me to let's say sell more copies or have people who are way more committed because they knew exactly what they were getting into, right? So
Yeah.
that's it is something to consider. One thing that just came to my mind as well, as we're talking about this, is in marketing there's always a saying, or even in coaching, I've heard this multiple times: sell people what they want and give them
Yes.
what they need, right?
Yes.
So and I know that's true and I know that works if again like
Hmm.
there it has to be done probably in an ethical and in a good way. But
Yep.
again, like to what extent are you just telling them what they want to hear, and then in reality it's like, oh yeah, like you bought something that was supposed to be 3 months, but reality is it usually will take 2 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a interesting conversation for sure.
Yeah,
I think
it is. But if you think about it, if I were to sell a program that, is focused on time management,
hmm
nobody is going to be like, "Ooh, me, I need time management," right? Like that
right,
doesn't get people excited. But you know what people do want? They want more time to travel. They want to go on more vacations. They want to, you know, buy an RV and travel around the world. They want to, lay at the beach. So that's what you have to turn that into. And that's where it comes,
right, right, right.
give them what they want, focus on what they want. But then in the content, you're giving them like, okay, that's what you want. This is what you got to do to get there.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Yeah, yeah. That's the part that I very much like about that statement. In terms of twisting things, probably not so much. But yeah, I like that example as well because this is what I see a lot of people get stuck on in the early stages with marketing, right? Selling kind of the means to an end instead of the end, or instead of the actual what people want to benefit. So that's a great example, this time management versus having time for vacation. Because time management just sounds like more work.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
I
already,
don't.
I'm going to be told what to do, when to do it. It's already like, it sounds horrible. Yeah. And that's why, like, they don't care about this stuff in the middle. But if you sell them on that results, like you were saying, that's what they want. And it comes down to, and this is the other thing too that we haven't talked about, but like low ticket or free ticket and then high ticket offers, people who want the results, like how bad do they want it? If they'll find the money for it, they're going to be a lot more dedicated in implementing too if they put money up.
Yeah. Well, that was my journey as well. I was like, there's no way I have money for this now, but I'll find a way. And I did. So
Yeah.
absolutely agree on that. Let's shift a little bit towards what you said. Inexperienced coaches who are, let's say, too young or like too over-promising without actually having things to back it up. How much of that do you see?
98%. I mean, it's so easy to get a coaching certification,
Mm-hmm.
um, and not have the experience of, actually the doing of it. How many of these people, and I'll keep saying, high ticket because it's everywhere right now. But how many people that are high ticket coaches, make money, and then it's almost kind of like a reverse psychology because they're making money selling a high ticket to help other people sell a high ticket.
Yeah, there's a lot of these memes of like, hey, I'll teach you how to make 10,000 a month on Instagram, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Sell other people on this course that will teach them, pretend that you're making 10,000 now and sell them on making 10,000, and it just becomes a loop, but like nobody's actually making it, but everybody's selling it.
Right, we're just reselling the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens. And then, there's a lot of, the memes and stuff going around too about like coaches helping coaches become a coach, and and it's funny, but it's true. But at the same time, no matter what industry you're in, you do need a coach or a mentor. It just how do you find the right one, right?
Yes. And that's that was I've actually made a video on this as well recently, on the coaches coaching coaches coaching coaches coaching coaches, right? It sounds funny, but I think it makes total sense. It really just depends on how it's done, right? And so let's answer that question. How do you find the right one? How do you know that this person is the right person?
Yeah, and I think, what I do for myself, and I think this is what other people do, is I follow somebody. I follow along with their journey. I, check out their email list. I check out all of their platforms and their content and see, if it resonates with me, and also like the proof to back it up. What's their experience? Is it just them saying they've done all of this, or have they really done this? Because most people who have money or are successful and stuff, they're not taking time for a photo shoot sitting on a Lamborghini, right? Like they're business workers, they're out there working. How many billionaires do you see doing that, right? No, they're working.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it's the rented out cars, and oh, that was I
The
laughed so
planes,
hard.
the
The
planes now
plane.
too.
That was what I was just gonna say. I laughed so hard when I found out. I think it's in New York. There's a building indoors that's a studio that has like a cutout of a plane that influencers go rent out for 30 minutes to take a photo shoot to pretend that they're on a jet. But it's literally a built out studio inside a building. And I was like, that, that's the online world these days, yo. That's just hilarious. And then this guy
Yeah.
will sit there like in the fake jet. It's like one seat or two seats of a jet, just sitting there in the building, and
Yeah.
they'll be
I mean,
pretending like,
it's funny.
oh,
It's funny and sad.
yeah, it's funny and sad at the same time. Is there anything specific that you would say that you look for when you're looking through people's content and you're looking for people's proof?
Yeah, and for myself, I think what I have found from working with a lot of coaches and mentors and taking a lot of course programs and stuff, if you do not have some sort of like live training that's included where you can get on a call, ask questions, get customized results and service, you're just putting money in their bank account, right? Like they don't know you, they don't care about you, you're not getting that one-on-one. Now, if you can't afford one-on-one coaching, there's so many mastermind programs. There's group programs, group coaching that you can be a part of that offers those, once a week, every 2 weeks or so, where everybody hops on Zoom or in a live chat and they get to come up with extra training, ask questions, learn from each other, and have that expert on there. So if I'm looking at these programs and these coaches and what they're offering, if they're just offering a digital products, it's just a money in their account, right? It's just that one transaction and it's not that consistent follow up. So I think that's what people really need to find. They need to find somebody that's willing to invest in themselves and handhold, right? So no matter what your finances are, you can find somebody. when it comes to like the business coaches and stuff out there, a lot of them have, like free, discovery calls to get on. And it's a great way to see if you connect with them, to see if, they have the answers to your questions, they have the experience, they have knowledge, and you can feel it out, right? If it's some big guru that is charging you $35,000 for a year program, but you're not going to be able to even like talk to them, you're not going to know your name, there's going to be 1,000 people that jump on a call, are you really going to get the help and stuff that you need to be successful? Probably not.
Mm, mm. Yeah, I can totally agree with that. With having somebody that you can actually talk to, especially in the very beginnings. And like you said, there are a lot of people who will um, give you a free discovery session or free, if even a free month, even if they see that you are, if, let's say they're in their first year or two and they're like really getting, they maybe just getting started themselves, but they've already been around, they've learned, they've made mistakes, so they can still teach you. And if they see that you are driven yourself, and that you will do the work, that you're committed, not just kind of like, and I just want to have some free stuff just because it feels good or whatnot, then people are usually very happy to help you out,
Yeah.
um, for free if you don't have the money. And then of course, when you do have the money, then you can come back and sign up for the full thing. And that's basically what I did as well back in 2020, when I was snooping around, getting started, being like, I need to learn from somebody, but I don't know, like I have no money. I'm making $3.50 an hour, like loading trucks here, and yeah, and it was definitely a process to finally find somebody, and yeah, I got quite a lot of help for free through chat and through like free trainings that she was offering, and then she gave me a free call as well, which sometimes they will just directly try and sell you, but other times other people will be like actually try and help you on the coaching call and then offer you the program or see if that's a good fit. Um, yeah, so I would say probably don't rush it, and look around and make sure that you really resonate with that person and with their story, and try and catch, and this is my caveat, try and catch inconsistencies, right? Try and catch inconsistencies in their messages and in their testimonials or things like that. Like I found this one person, like somebody reached out to me and she was like, "Hey, like I saw I've been kind of following this person a little bit. I'm thinking about his program, but I never thought I would invest like 5K into a program like this. And could you check out, like, what do you think?" And I found that he's um all of his testimonials were like, or his proof of income was $2,000, $3,000 payments. But then he claimed what he teaches in the program was to sell like $20 ebooks but high volumes. But then he was showing, right, he's saying, I will teach you to make this kind of money by selling smaller products but bigger volume. But then he's showing proof of having just high payments, and it was kind of mixed together, so it then didn't make sense. So that kind of says, oh, he's actually not making most of his money by doing the thing that he says he's doing, but he's making most of his money just by charging to teach that thing that basically probably makes just like a little bit of money or
Yeah.
doesn't really
I mean,
work.
it's
And then,
super hard to make a lot of money off of low ticket offers,
especially in the
especially.
beginnings, especially in the
Yeah.
beginnings, right? Like if you have a huge account, like if you've been an influencer but you never really sold anything, you have 100,000 followers, and you create like a $10 uh, workshop, you
Hmm.
can probably make a couple thousand a month off of that, right? Because you have the volume. But if you're really starting from scratch, it's like you said, it's really hard.
Yeah, and
It,
you have to think too is like, if you have a $10, $20 product and stuff, that's a lot of new customers you need every month to reach
mm-hmm.
those goals. So those are good like introductory offers if you have something higher, and this is, on the business side of things and stuff, but like you have to kind of work backwards of what your number goals are. Like, if you do want to, make $10,000 a month and stuff, what can you offer? How many clients do you want? Because if you want to do, coaching and stuff, that could be two clients at $5,000, or, more clients at a smaller rate, but then you're gonna have to get more clients. You have to get more clients every month. But if you could create a $5,000 program, what would that look like? What can you give people that would be worth that? Worth over that, because you always want to over deliver, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one rule I think I heard from somebody that I definitely agreed on as well is I don't think you are necessarily very qualified to start charging high tickets unless you've already paid more, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if you've gotten a coach who you paid $5,000 and they were really good, right, and you've actually learned a lot, now you yourself can charge maybe 3,000, 4,000,
hmm
and I think the investments into yourself should always be higher than than what you're putting out there, and
yeah.
that's
That's
kind of
such a
a
great point.
yeah, because there's a lot of people who are like, I've never bought a $2,000 program because I don't need that shit, but I'm gonna sell $5,000 program myself, but I've never actually. So that doesn't make sense. Again, incongruency. And so that's kind of what I
Yeah.
look for is
And not
is
only
is
that too,
everything.
but if you have somebody who, has paid for all of these programs, okay, I'll take myself for example, right? So I've paid for programs with Marie Forleo, Amy Porterfield, Taki Moore, I lean water, an endless slew of, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that I've paid. When you hire somebody that's like me who has done that, like what you're saying, you're getting somebody who has all of that knowledge, who has taken all of those programs and confined it in a different way to offer like the most valuable pieces, hopefully, right?
Hmm.
Hopefully. But
Yeah,
you're getting somebody who has all of this different types of knowledge packaged up to offer to you. But you do want to make sure that, they have that experience, that they're also willing to invest in themselves to
yeah,
grow their business.
yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, this has been a very awesome and very valuable conversation. Thank you very much for taking the time and doing this. What's one main thing or one main place where people can go to find you and learn more from you and about you?
Yeah, so they can find me on, any of the social media platforms. They can go to my website, jesscassity.com. And my book is on Amazon, The 20-Hour a Week CEO. It also comes with a free workbook. So it's very actionable and it helps people in any type of business, lay those foundations and stuff. But they can find me, they can connect with me, reach out, ask questions, say hey. And I would love that. And thank you so much for having me. This has been so fun.
All right, awesome. Two more questions really quickly. Maybe should have asked this before. Before who are the perfect people to actually reach out?
So anybody who is a online business owner that is kind of, struggling with maybe kind of doing all of the things, or, trying to figure out how to get started, that just needs, some accountability, some support, some guidance. We have tons of different programs, work one-on-one or, group programs. So anybody who is in there that needs some help and is ready to, get things moving and, have somebody help support them.
All right, amazing. And last question, what's next for you?
What's next? So, I just finished my book, just launched that a couple of weeks ago. The
Amazing.
paperback version's coming out. Thank you. So now I'm just working on, I took some time off from one-on-one coaching and I'm really, working on getting back to that. I am getting ready to launch a new group program that I'm really excited about, and a master class that's going to go into that. So I'm working on that. I'm hoping I'm going to have that out in a month or so. I don't know if it'll be out before Christmas or right after. So I'm really excited about that because I love the group, um, you know, when people get together and they're able to help each other, because I can help you. I'm one person, but to have other people come in with more questions and more ideas, it helps everybody, right? So I love that.
All right, amazing. Sounds wonderful. Wishing you all the best. Of course, all the best with the holidays coming up and everything as well. and with your family. I'm looking forward to stay in touch and seeing what more you do and that's it. Yeah, that's the whole episode. So thank you so much.
Thank you